Good evening. Good morning. Almost morning, isn't it? What time is it? Midnight? Is it midnight yet? 11:45, just past 11:45. Welcome to
11:49, exact.
11:49. Welcome to a late gift of the gab, where me and Anton can't get to sleep, so we just come on and talk absolute bollocks for.
It's just like your West Ham Weekly, then, isn't it?
Well, that's informative and gives people the information they need. You try and copy.
Oh, sorry, you're still talking.
You try and copy and fail miserably.
Yeah.
But that's okay. You know, at least you listen to other things I tell you to do, like images, videos, and all that sort of stuff, which is good. So the whole idea of this is just to talk bollocks for as long as we actually want to, and
well,
we can
stuff
swear.
Happening.
Well, there is stuff happening. Should we give everyone the breaking news?
Yeah, the breaking news is
that tomorrow's Saturday.
There is no breaking news. No, we have signed a player though still.
Yeah. But you've done a show about that already.
Yeah, but it's official now. It's official.
Yeah, but it's old news. It's yesterday's news.
Well, we're going to talk about it though. We are going to talk about it because you're going to take all the news in your West Ham Weekly, so we need to do it again in this one.
Well, it will be on. It will be on the show anyway, because not everybody would have watched it. So, yeah, we signed our third young player of the summer.
Yep, Armstrong Okoflex.
Armstrong Oko-Flex. Yeah. Don't know what the height. I don't. It's a bit of an odd name. Where does that come from? Where does Oko-Flex come from?
He's got Nigerian parents.
Right.
And he was born in Dublin and Ireland.
So he must know Odebeko, because they both play for the Republic of Ireland under-19s.
Yep.
And what was interesting was, which I didn't realise until I read about it earlier, was he had a trial with West Ham just before Celtic snapped him up, which is a surprise.
No, I didn't know that myself, actually.
Yeah, I didn't know that, because I was only sort of reading on it to see, well, who is he? Because he said in his statement, in his intro to West Ham, he said, I know a lot of the players. And I'm like, how would you know a lot of the players? And then I thought to myself, maybe he knows Odebeko and Connor Coventry from the Republic of Ireland. And then I saw a snippet that he apparently had a trial with West Ham, but Celtic came in and snapped him up. So welcome, Armstrong.
Well, the situation is his career comes from, he started his career off in Ireland because he was born and bred in Dublin, and he played at the St. Kevin Boys Academy in Ireland. When Liam Brady from Arsenal scouting system clocked onto him, saw him and brought him across to London to join Arsenal in 2017. He did do well. He wasn't prolific in terms of scoring goals or anything like that, but he played well, and Arsenal wanted to sign him on a long-term contract. However, Brendan Rodgers, at the time, who was the manager of Celtic, signed him with the option of potentially giving him a run-out in the first team, like a quicker route to the first team. And also at the time, Celtic were in Europe. But it just didn't really pan out because Celtic went through changes themselves. Brendan Rodgers left. Neil Lennon came in. Obviously, he wanted to do his own thing on the team. Okoflex didn't, probably had to go back to the beginning again and work hard. And I think there was a few issues, maybe with his attitude. And it's not been said, but you can put two and two together.
Well,
and think Brendan Rodgers has brought you in. I know you're going to say something about an Instagram.
Yeah, I read about his Instagram, and he made a bit of a lewd and not a very not a very wise comment about an underage girl.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
wasn't disgusting. It was just not appropriate.
I don't doubt for a second he didn't mean it. I reckon he was
Yeah,
just being really
I
young
just
and
think he was
stupid.
being
Yeah,
stupid. Yeah,
yeah,
and I've heard that there's been quite a lot of it. He looks like a bit of a hothead. He kind of reacts to things online.
yeah,
And it's funny because when I was reading up on him tonight, one of the Celtic fans said, keep him away from Instagram and he'll be fine." You
yeah.
know, so he's just a young lad, isn't he? But
But what's
he's an
interesting, though, still, what's interesting is he's represented England at youth level, under
I know.
16 and under 17 levels,
Yep.
and of course is now representing Republic of Ireland
Ireland. Well,
under 19s levels.
interestingly, he represented England and Republic of Ireland both at under 16 level.
Yeah,
Started, and now Republic of Ireland have come back in for him and said, "Play for us." So we've got a bit of a Declan situation here, haven't we? If he turns
yeah.
out to be
And
any good.
He won the famous Victory Shield with Ireland in 2017. So, you know, I done a video on him the other day, and some people were like, why are we signing these players and not looking at bigger players? But for me, the mindset of getting these players over the line is that you're bringing in three well-respected, well-renowned in that kind of age group players that are going to go into that system, and they're going to build upon what we've got as players. They're going to challenge the players that are currently there. They're going to challenge the crop of players. They're going to push them, and they're going to push themselves with the aim of trying to find a little bit of first-team football. And still, there's no ifs or buts about it. Even when we do sign players, Moyes is going to probably use players next season in some games.
Well, he's gonna. It's gonna. I said, but before we carry on, Quattro, what's a devil's cabbage? Tell us, mate, and I'll read it up later. I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the pre-season. I've kind of said this, and I know you probably said it as well. What happens with pre-season and which of the youngsters he takes along with the senior squad? So you might get Occo Flex, and you might get Equa, and a few others: Alves, Connor Coventry, Baptiste Alaise, one or two others that might be going along to pre-season training like it did last season. If you remember, that's how we met. That's how we found out about Alaise and Baptiste. So Occo Flex might be one of those players that might.
I don't doubt for a second
pre-season.
still he's not been brought in to be. Of course, he's not been brought in to be a first team player. But bringing him in doesn't bother me. I mean, I know there's loads of comments in there. People are. I had it yesterday, and I seen some stuff on Twitter, and I was just like, I'm baffled at why people are going off on one because Moyes hasn't signed the first team player. And my question to there would be, well, who has? No one has signed. No one has really.
Apart from Man City bidding £100 million for every player they decide they fancy at this moment in time. The thing is, an awful lot of players, as we kind of alluded to, are on holiday. Lingard has just flown out to Mykonos. What?
Sorry.
The wives probably think we're all looking at boobs on the internet and we're watching this.
It's so true.
I was gonna say we're more fun than boobs, but then it might have sounded wrong. A bloke telling another bloke that we're more fun than boobs.
Yeah.
What was I saying? Don't know. Forgotten. Doesn't matter. Yeah, all the players are on holiday. Lingard has just flown out to Mykonos to meet his Man United mates and
Watford mates
and Watford mates, and nothing's really going to happen until July for the senior players. So I don't mind us. I mean, it's really weird because we always, fans always go on about we don't build up our youth system and we don't have all the right players, and yet now we've gone out and bought 3 prospects. You never know. None of them may work. We won't know until we try.
But still, it's a model. It's a model we should follow, and I would argue to the guns with any fan about that. Like we've not done it for years. We've signed players and sold for losses rather than signing players and sold for profits. So if we're bringing these 3 players in at low values or at no money, but they're prospects, there's 2 things you look at. If they don't work out, you sell for a profit. And if they do work out, you're either they're challenging for a first team spot, or you're challenging the current crop of youth players for that first team spot. So it's a no-brainer for me. James, you've put the comment in there. Sorry. Another player we don't need. He's not a starter, and we need first team players in the team as soon as possible.
We do.
Every team needs players first team as soon as possible, but no one's signing them, and rightly so, in my opinion, because like what Still said, players aren't there. I know some players are apparently negotiating contracts, etc. But you're talking about Jordan Sancho and Jack Grealish. In my opinion, shouldn't even be talking to clubs right now because they're at the Euros, at their international situation.
But having said that, there is a centre back that apparently a Premier League team is talking to, who is in the German squad at the moment, that may be signed imminently. So there are other players talking who are in the Euros talking to clubs. But I agree with you. I think their focus should be on the Euros.
Yeah.
But
that doesn't worry me though. Still, I mean, does it worry? The question to you is, and the question to everyone in the chat: are you worried that we're on the 25th of June? Soon to be the 26th now. We're now officially in Saturday. Are you worried that we've not signed anyone for the first team? That's the same question to you still.
I'm not worried yet. No. If it gets to the 25th of July and we haven't signed anyone, then I'll start worrying a little bit and I'll start asking questions. But it's very early in the day. It's far too early to even, think about what you and I think. I know we've discussed this before, and what surprised us in the last two windows is David Moyes will have his list of players that we haven't even dreamt about. And there's absolutely no doubt at all he's already working on, and the club already working on negotiating some deals. I don't think just because we don't hear about them doesn't mean nothing is happening. But also, the stories that we put out, and I know all other channels put out, are really all about, as we keep being told, agency talk and club talk. So sometimes clubs want to get rid of players. Sometimes agents want to move their players on to make money. So they start building up a momentum. And it's quite interesting how many players we've been linked to for the last 2 or 3 transfer windows, maybe even longer, that the names crop up again and again and again. And you've got to start thinking, well, if we haven't signed them yet, we're never likely to sign them. Martin Braithwaite, the Danish and Barcelona striker, and others like that. You just keep hearing about the same names over and over again.
But you can't still. I mean, listen, for us doing what we do, though, you can totally tell very quickly who's a realistic target or not from the multiple names that we go through. You can say,
you start working it out.
Who's a legit link, or even if it's not a legit link, who's a
more tangible,
realistic,
you start working it out, and it's quite funny because I actually, you know how much effort we put into looking at all the news stories, and I actually I'm actually laughing now and getting quite bored at the fact that I'm reading about a player that we were linked to 2 years ago, and it just like and you just start to think to yourself, it's just not going to happen. We start being linked to players with multi-million-pound release clauses, and you start being linked to players in positions that David Moyes is not interested in, and it doesn't take very much to work out that he said it himself. He wants 3 positions initially: centre back, attacking midfielder, stroke Jesse Lingard, and a striker. And then once he gets those players, then we can start sort of speculating who else he might sign, if he signs anyone. But I'm not worried yet. We've got plenty of time to go. When does the transfer window close? Is it August something? It's quite a long time. It's quite a long time. So, and I reckon that once it happens, let's not forget that the team don't get back together for pre-season training until the first week of July. And then the players that are away on Euro duty don't get back to pre-season training until the middle of July. And I think by then, that's when we'll start seeing things happening, and probably happening pretty rapidly. Next week is July, so beginning of July, middle of July. Moyes has already said himself he wants players that are going to come in and do pre-season with the rest of the squad. So I think there are things going on, but we just don't get to hear about them. What we do is we get carried away with all these stories.
Of course we do, but we wouldn't be the channel we are if we didn't talk to people at least. about
I
that.
mean, I don't mean just us, but I mean in general. We all get carried away with stories, and we all think because we read a story about 1,000,000 times, we all think that we're about to sign about 10 players. But truth of the matter is, we're nowhere near it. But I'm not worried. I'm not worried.
I'm not worried
I've
at
got
all.
to say,
Still,
I've got to say good morning to Neil because it's probably the first time we've been in tandem with him. It's morning for us and it's morning for him. I hope you're well, Neil.
Porridge and watching us too.
And James, unfortunately, so we are sober. But I promise you, next time we do this, we'll do it on a Friday night and we'll just get a bit hammered. What do you think?
Yeah. Maybe we should actually get. The last time we did that, we got Ian Bishop on, and I think I drank a 3/4 bottle of rum that night. Actually, by the time I was underneath the stairs as well, still, and I was roasting. It was a good laugh. It was a good laugh.
Nathan just got into bed. You know what, mate? We just thought go for it and see what happens. Mark, good morning, afternoon, and good night. Are you going to bed already, mate? We've only just started the show. We've got another 3 hours to go.
Sarcasm. I know there's loads of comments in there, but going back to the whole kind of signing players, etc. I don't really know a huge amount of clubs that are signing players, like we've said. And if people are signing, it's mainly the free transfer market for the players like Ashley Young. Somebody's gone out, lads. No, they've just gone to bed. And yeah, like Ashley Young, who was free in the market and has gone back to Watford. And no one in here would probably say we'd be wanting an Ashley Young right now. But I seen a tweet yesterday, and I know me and you don't actively go on Twitter for several reasons because it can be a bit crazy sometimes. However, I seen something that was shared onto our page on Twitter, and it was a comment about someone's mindset behind why the Moyes situation with UEFA. Should he be taking the job at UEFA whilst in the midst of a summer where he needs to really build on the squad? And he kind of, but the thing is, before I get your answer, he was negative about it. It wasn't like he wasn't asking the question. He was actually being physically negative about it. And I really wanted to jump in. I don't know. It was like an account, and I don't know who it was. I can't remember off the top of my head. But I really wanted to.
Implying that
I do. But
implying that he should be focusing on West Ham rather than doing these scout reports.
Yeah,
but
something like that.
Can you not see how it works to our favour?
Of course, it does.
I think it works to our favour because he gets a good insight on certain players. He writes up about them, and is it?
What?
Oh, is it Quattro? Oh, interesting. He writes up about these players. It gives him an insight. It makes him think about whether there's any value in, are we able to put a bid in? He's going to go back. He'll go back to the board and say, look, I've scout reported this player. I know I've done it for the Euros, but, there's something in this player. I've looked into him. I've looked into his background, etc. He might be worth a shot. I think it's a good thing. I can't see where there's the, and let's not forget, he's actually on holiday as well. This is he's taking a break, and he probably would have just been sitting. I don't know. Has he got a home up where you live in Scotland somewhere?
Yeah.
So he probably would have been just sitting there watching the Euros like we are. So why not?
He's certainly not got a home in where you live. Still can't afford it.
Yeah, I know, mate. I know.
But the thing is, I've seen the comment. Where are you? Let me see here. Sorry, I know you're going to do that one. There was James, listen, James. I know you've been on before, and I know you've kind of written plenty of comments and stuff like that. But there's no reason why Lingard couldn't have been signed. But there's no reason why he should have signed. It works in both ways. It's the guy was on loan. There was never an intention to buy initially when the deal was originally up and running. Nobody knew it would go as well as it did, except for probably Moyes, because he just had the faith in his coaching ability. And now, it's a no-brainer for us West Ham fans that, yes, we should go out and sign him. I get that. But the guy's on holiday. He's probably weighing up his options. There's been options brought to him, James, that was probably never there before. He spoke out. He said he was gutted not to be included in the Euro side. But then 6 months ago, he also stated that he was nowhere near the England setup. So things are probably going through, every emotion in his head is going through his mindset. He's probably thinking, where do I commit my future to? I seen Toby wrote the comment in there. He said, there is, from Man United's point of view, James, don't want to sell Lingard, then Bruno does his ACL. You know, are they even using Lingard as bait for the Jordan Sancho deal that's supposedly close to getting signed over the next couple of days?
And
I don't
what
know.
will happen
But
is Lingard will look at that deal. If they do sign Sancho, Lingard will know he's leaving. You know, he won't be used as a make weight for Sancho to come over and then looks like a bit of a monk. You know, Lingard and his agent have already said he's not going to be used as a make weight for Sancho to come here and then for Lingard to go over to Germany. So if they do sign Sancho, and I reckon they will. Good evening, Crazy Cole. I reckon they will. Lingard will be leaving Man United, and I can't see where else he'd want to go at the moment. I'm sure many other clubs will want him, that based on his performance at the second half of the season. I can't see where else he'd want to go. He's a Manchester boy. He's a Man United fan. He's a Man United lad. I wouldn't blame him 1 minute if he's gone to Moyes. Moyes has probably said to him, "Look, we want to sign you." Lingard has gone, "You know where I'm at, but if Man United don't give me the deal I want, as in more playing time, I won't stay and I'll come to West Ham." And I reckon that will still happen, to be honest with you. I can't see that it won't.
It's not, mate. It's not, Crazy Call. It's really not. And we may do a competition soon for one of our mugs. I don't know. Clive is saying we really need to sign Lingard as soon as possible to set the fans' nerves. I can't see why we're waiting to move on him. Well, he's not here. He's not in the country.
There are three, and there are a number of parties involved. There's the player, Man United, the agent, and West Ham.
Well, and we don't know if Man United want to sell.
There's the other thing. The other thing.
He's got a year in his contract, so he can't. Yeah. Lingard can't come and talk to West Ham, because if he does talk to West Ham are tapping him up. He's got a year left in his contract, so we can't talk to him. We have to get permission from Man United to talk to Lingard. So there's the first thing. That's why we can't just go ahead and just sign a player.
And I mean, there's another element that when I think about the whole Tarkowski issue that I read today, is that Lingard might decide, sod this, I'll risk it. I'll stay at Man United. I'll see my contract out, and then I'll go for a free. And that's January, and that's what Man United won't want either. Man United won't want to lose him. They know they can get 15 to 20 million for him. So they will have to make a decision soon. And if they can't guarantee Lingard more game time and what manager can, he will go. And if you pay the money, he'll come. He becomes a top player with us.
I get the sentiment behind that, but you can't just then, I said in a video yesterday, I can't even remember what it was, about when Moyes didn't sign a striker and sign Lingard. I was the fan that was going to sign a striker, as we all were. He didn't. We got by. It done well. Lingard done amazing. It was fantastic. But rewind back 2 years or whatever when we signed Chicharito and we had him on 130,000 pound a week, something like that. He was the highest earner at West Ham. For me, he wasn't given a fair crack at the whip at West Ham. He just didn't fit David Moyes' mould. But what you need to do is then balance the squad wages. You can't have players sitting at salaries up here and then other players sitting at salaries here. West Ham aren't that club that can manage those types of egos. So you've got, if Lingard comes in and you pay him what he wants, which is like what, let's say for talking sake, a player gets fair crack at the whip and he says, well, I want 140 grand a week. And then Declan Rice is sitting at West Ham on 50 or 60? Like, is that fair? Is that a fair evaluation of where the West Ham setup is? Antonio, whatever wages he's on right now, is that a fair evaluation of where he is? So then you've got a player that's doubling the wages of someone else. And West Ham we've crept there before, it never worked for us. So we need to look at what David Moyes is doing, which is building from the bottom up. And if he continues to do that, I pray to God he does, then we'll have a good season. And for me, next season still is staying in a cup run. Like, I'm not going to get carried away. I want to get carried away. cup run would be good. Give ourselves a good account for ourselves in Europe, and as long as we finish in the top 10, I would take that now. I would bite your hands off for that now.
Yeah, I want us to do. We may not get top 6 like we did this season, but I want us to do well, and I want us to have a good cup run. I don't expect much from the Europa League, but it would be nice to win a domestic cup at the very least. Garino, I agree with you. Let's get worried if we're mid-August and no one is in. And Graham from Canada, hello mate. Transfers seem slow, but they can all come very quickly, and I trust Moyes to get it right. And this is the thing that Moyes has done for me. He and I wasn't a Moyes fan when he came back to us the second time round, but he's proved in what he's done with the players that he's purchased over the has he had 3 transfer windows now or 2? He's had 2. He's proved that he can bring players. He's had 3 actually, 2 winter ones and last summer. That he can bring the right players in and get them for the right price. And I'm not worried. I mean, James, all the links, nothing concrete. Doesn't say anything because every team have got an awful lot of links. And it's funny because we live in our West Ham bubble and we think we're the only team not signing anyone. But like you just said, no one's signing anyone at the moment.
Well, I'll tell you something though, still, no one predicted. No one in the social media world predicted Thomas Suchek. No one in the social media world predicted Jared Bowen.
No.
The only reason we predicted Vladimir Soufal was because the president of the club,
because he said so,
said he was having a medical at West Ham.
And I know he's now said Seema is going to a Premier League club, but he hasn't said which one.
He said 2 clubs, and we're just putting two. Yeah, he said 2 Premier League clubs. He said there's 6 clubs in total that are interested in the likes of Seema, and he probably will accept a bid from one of the 6 clubs that's looking at Seema.
See, and I don't even think that Seema is a Moyes choice, to be honest with you. I don't think he thinks he might be the right type of player for West Ham. So I just think we got to just be calm. We just got to wait, and I reckon I think Moyes will get the signings in. I think everyone is expecting Moyes to sign 6 or 7 players. If we get 4, I think we'd have done well, because Moyes has said himself, and this is on top of letting players go. But I know people are going to freak out when we end up letting go of 3 or 4 or maybe even 5 players and only signing 4. They're going to say, "Oh my God, our squad's even smaller." But I reckon he's got a plan. He's going to look at the youth. He's going to see who might be ready, and we might pay for 3 players and maybe get a freebie and maybe get a loan or 2, and that might be our lot. But so long as they're the right players, I don't care how they come, to be honest with you. And Seema is an interesting one, because like I said, we get carried away. We think because we see the stories so many times, we end up thinking that they are dead certs. Look at the Patson Daka. Everyone's going bananas because it looks like Leicester are going to sign him. Oh, we should have got him. We should have paid the money. We should have paid. Moyes has already said he's not going to pay 30-40 million pounds for a striker. And Leicester are going to pay what? Are they paying 35 million for him? I think something like that. There are other players,
and I think they're going to double up the signing and get Edouard from Celtic as well. It looks like they're going to go for the 2.
Wow.
Yeah, that's according to that Fabrizio guy on Twitter.
Yeah,
no, but he is like he's I don't know who he is, but he's a legit, like, I don't know if he's an agent or something. Let me just find out who he is exactly. Fabrizio Romano.
Oh yeah, I've read about him before.
Yeah.
I there's a lot of stuff on news now from his stories. They don't all materialise, mate. So I wouldn't believe that.
But yeah, no. According to him, actually 2 hours ago, Daka has confirmed that he is signing a deal with Leicester City and moving to Leicester. It's true, thanks to Red Bull Salzburg. So he's gone. He's one off the list.
Yeah, fine. Good luck to him.
And 100 names.
And he'll probably do really well. Jordan, are we doing a preview for the Germany game?
Let's be really honest, though. Still, I mean, how many times have we said we would do a preview for a game and then haven't done it? So,
because I just want to enjoy the Euros.
Don't expect it.
Probably not, mate.
But if we come up with a plan that we can, then we'll do one. But don't expect it.
James asked, question for the lads: how many first-team players will we sign this window? I reckon we'll get up to 4. What about you?
I'm probably similar to you. I'm thinking back to a year ago when we had, or maybe even before a year ago, whatever it was, Nigel came on the show and Nigel went, but lads, the way he does, he goes, but lads. He says, what happens if we just don't sign anyone and we just go with the squad? He said, I wonder what that could do. And he had a valid point.
He did.
He was completely valid, and it was. And when he said it like that, I was like, I kind of thought to myself, it's thin, but this squad probably needs that.
I mean,
what I wasn't expecting though through the season was that Felipe Anderson was going to leave and Sebastian Haller was going to leave.
Yeah, I didn't expect
at that time, and nothing was going to get replaced except for Jesse Lingard. I didn't expect that, but
I think this time round Moyes will sign. I mean, it won't happen again. I mean, now that we're in Europa League as well, but I reckon we'll get. I'm thinking we'll probably end up getting rid of more players than we buy.
I don't know.
Well, Fredericks last year of his contract, Anderson last year of his contract, Yarmolenko last year of his contract. There's a number of players that in the last year of their contracts, and it's borderline. There's an awful lot of talk about Yarmolenko, and it's borderline whether he stays. He could be a player that, in order to free up the wages that we pay him, they might negotiate him to go if they can't get anyone to pay to buy him. Anderson, see, but these players, I'm not overly worried, because if you think about the squad last season, Yarmolenko, Anderson, one or two other players hardly played or didn't play at all for the team. So it's not as if we're going to miss them. So those players that have only been on the periphery of the squad, I'm not overly concerned about. Ryan Fredericks is another one, not overly concerned. He only played a handful of games. And that's why even when I'm looking at the squad, and I know it's quite small, I'm actually already excluding those players and saying, what have we got left? So how many more do we need on top of the likes of Yarmolenko?
Which is why I don't think. I mean, I see people in the comments saying you can't count Anderson; he's gone, and the Pablo.
But that's exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. I'm not counting him.
I'm not. But I am counting him. I'm counting him. Oh God, that's jumping. I can't get it. I'm counting him because for me, trying to put myself in Moyes' head, you can look at it both ways. You can go, well, I don't know what wages Anderson's on, but he's not 100k. He's like 80, is he not? Something like that. He doubled it from Italy, or got a bit more, but he's not on 100k or whatever. But he's up there. He's up there in terms of his earnings. Mm-hmm. You're talking about a player we signed for 13 million, and he's currently valued at anything between 12 to 15. I would rather lose
at best.
I would rather lose Anderson on free than lose him, to just sell him for that amount of money. Because if Moyes, the manager that we all know he is, can do what he's done with players in the past, Arnautovic, to think of one, Antonio, the way he's transformed these players, Fornals, what he's doing with all these types of players. There's one manager that's going to be able to bring the best out of a player. It's going to be him. And if he sells him, then he just totally doesn't fancy him at all. He doesn't see fit. But I think he'll bring Anderson back. I think he'll put him into pre-season training. I think
they will all go into pre-season.
Yeah.
I think you're right. But I'm just looking at it I mean, that's a good point from Hughes. Officially, we can't sign anyone from Europe until the 1st of July anyway, which is true, because most contracts end on the 30th of June. Like Maximovic, the centre-back from Napoli, will be available on a free from 30th of June. So you're right there, mate. But I think they will bring, at the likes of Anderson, Yarmolenko, etc., will all be there for pre-season. But it wouldn't surprise me at all. I think there's already stuff in the pipeline. Someone mentioned about the price of Milenkovic from Fiorentina. There was talk about the possibility of Milenkovic coming to West Ham and Anderson going to Fiorentina with some cash on top as well. Things like that could be a realistic thing that might happen. Yeah. I don't think so. That's what I said earlier, though, and you put that message, that notice up. When I look at the squad, I'm not including Anderson. I'm not including Yarmolenko when I think about the size of our squad. So I think we've got something without those sorts of players. I think we've got something like about, I don't know, 17, 18 players. So Moyes knows, right, I need another X number of players in order to get the squad up to, a full squad. But I don't think he'll end up signing 6 or 7 players. He'll sign 4, and he'll bring 1 or 2 youth players in as well to fill the
Yeah,
gaps.
and I think that's the key factor. It's a bit like, keep the squad we've got. I don't know if he'll sell as many as what you're saying, but that's we're just going to have to wait and see what happens with that. But we will then bring in a couple of, hopefully minimum 4. I don't want to just sign people for the sake of signing people. I just don't think.
And Moyes has already said that as well.
And he said that as well. But
Yeah.
he will rely. I think what he's doing with the, Armstrong, Okoflex, and all the other players he's brought in will challenge those younger players still that even you were calling out for to get given a shot last year. Why not Coventry? Why not Coventry? And for me personally, without banging on about it, Alessi, the one I'm even more excited about Alessi than I am about Baptiste, to be honest. So I think that there's an option for these players to step up next season. And still, let's be honest, 50 plus first team games are going to get played next year.
I think there's going to be 1 or 2 players that, Connor Coventry has been. This is a good point. Do you think Lingard will be decision made after Euros? I think yes. I think most of the decisions will be made after Euros. But going back to the youth players, Connor Coventry, there's already 2 players being talked about that might be part of the senior squad next season. Frederick Alves, the young centre back we signed from Silkeborg, and Connor Coventry, the young player that we've all been screaming out for quite some time, who's a defensive midfielder. And there's talk in the papers this week or social media columns this week that people are already regarding Connor Coventry as the future Mark Noble, and a lot of people say he's a decent player. And I've seen a few under 23 games, not enough for me to say hand on heart that he's great, but I did say at the beginning of last season I thought he might get his chance because we knew we needed strength in depth in that position. This might be his opportunity. David Moyes has already kind of stated he's not looking at a defensive midfielder, and yet we've been linked to Alex Kral and all those sorts of players. Maybe he might decide Connor Coventry might be the one that's going to come in and help out there in that position.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think pre-season is going to tell us an awful lot. It's going to tell us an awful lot of where David Moyes' mindset is going to be.
There's a player I do want to kind of bring up this just now, actually, and it's we sold him last summer. Was it summer or the winter? Josh Cullen. Who seems to have excelled dramatically since leaving the club. Doesn't matter if you think he's playing in a lesser league, but he is becoming one of the kind of top names at Anderlecht. I mean, the guy is just absolutely performing to the top level since joining the club.
Here's the thing, mate. Here's the thing. This is the interesting thing. I'm going to allude to Allaire. So, most fans slag off Allaire and saying he couldn't do it in the Premier League. So he goes to the Dutch league, and he smashes it, and everyone goes, well, it's only the Dutch league. And yet Josh Cullen hasn't been able to break his way into the Premier League team, and yet he then goes to the Dutch league and he smashes it, and everyone says, isn't he brilliant? You can't have it both ways. You can't 1 minute say a player is not good enough and he's only smashing it in another league because that's his level, and then go and praise another player and say, look how great he is, and we should have kept him. It can't work both ways, can it, really? So, and Cullen, I never thought Cullen was good enough. I always thought Connor Coventry was the better of the two. And Cullen left at 24 years old. If you don't make it, through the ranks of the under 23s, by the time you're around 21, pushing it 22, you might not make. You may be a late bloomer, but you're not likely to make it. And
it's funny though, because I thought I was kind of in agreement with you. However, I was going to make that judgment this summer on Cullen. I was willing to. I thought we were going to give Cullen another season, because I thought if there was ever going to be a
It
season
was
with a thin
it was too
squad.
late. He would have been
No,
25 years of
no,
age
I know that, but for a
if he
thin
was
squad, I
given
mean, I
another
don't think
season.
we didn't, we weren't losing anything, and we never made money from him. We never lost too much wages on him. I thought that, was there an opportunity for him to really try and progress through, or maybe get a bit more game time than he's ever had? This season was the one. I wasn't ready for Cullen to go. I was more ready for Dean Gannon to go. There you go.
Right. If he was good enough, he would have made it. It's as simple as that.
No, I know, but he is in theory proving that a little bit now. I'm not slagging off the decision. I'm backing everything that Moyes is doing. All I'm saying is, it can work in other ways. Chelsea got rid of Declan Rice. We snapped up Declan Rice, and look what's happened.
Oh, absolutely.
And we've got rid of Josh Cullen, and he's gone Anderlecht, and look what's happened.
But
I know it's a dramatic comparison.
I'll repeat. He's gone to the Dutch league and smashed it. Haller went to the Dutch league and smashed it, and yet Haller is still shit, and he's only smashing it because it's the Dutch league. So you can't say that Cullen has gone to the Dutch league and smashing it. Yeah. It can't work. It's got. If you're going to, if you're a good player, you're a good player. And maybe perhaps, and perhaps both players, both Cullen and Haller, weren't good enough for the Premier League, but they are good enough for the Dutch league.
I get it, but I still put my thing out there on Cullen. I was going to judge. I genuinely did not expect Cullen to go, so I was going to judge him solely on the end of this season. But it's just
I think but I think what I said, if a player is still playing for the under-23s when he's reached that peak, and then he's leaving at 24 years of age and he still hasn't made his mark in the Premier the first.
He doesn't fit the system of what Moyes is looking for, but that doesn't mean that he's not got his ability. I think there's been many players through our West Ham lives, especially now under David Moyes, that really haven't been given a huge chance really to play in a certain style. Moyes is a specific type of player he looks for. That's why when we do these videos, we know we can rule out links, and we can rule out fake stories and all that sort of stuff. But the situation is, we can look at these players and go, Moyes doesn't fancy him, so Moyes is going to get rid of him, a bit like Haller. But the amount of times we've done all these videos, still we were frustrated at watching Haller because we were like, we're not playing to his strengths. When we watched Chicharito, we never played to his strengths.
Never played to his strengths, yeah.
But that's not a fault of the player. That's just, and it's not a fault of Moyes. Moyes is building something that we have to believe in, and that's it. Yeah.
There's an interesting comment. Moving on to another subject for a minute. 12 months ago, we were panicking with the fixture lists. Are we panicking with the fixture list now?
Well,
I mean, I've looked at that, and it's quite interesting that I think it's really, really even, isn't it? It's quite a level playing field on the fixture list.
Yes. However, if you, I'm going to put the but in. The asterisk mark. The asterisk mark is the but.
Yeah.
There's more asterisk marks than there's been before.
So if you put
an asterisk mark, it means that you're in another competition, and the other competition can have a massive impact on your season. So that's why strength and depth is desperately needed for West Ham for this summer.
I guess what I'm saying is, even those asterisks, because I think we're affected by, I think I wish I had the list up, but we're affected by about half a dozen games: Spurs game, Man United game, Liverpool game, a couple of other sort of those greedy six. And I did say in my show last week, a lot of these games would have been moved anyway, because the TV companies always love to show those teams, the Man Uniteds, the Liverpools, as often as they can. So they would have been moved anyway. And I think what surprised me, I don't know what you think, Pablo. Are you panicking over the new season's fixtures? I'm not, because I think that these I don't want to call them the bigger teams, but these harder to beat teams, the whatever teams, they seem to be spread out quite evenly. And I'm not panicking. I think the fixture list has actually been quite kind to us this time round. But yeah, I'm not worried about the Europa League impacting as much on our season, because the games I've mentioned we would have already been moved anyway for TV viewing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I tell you what, though, still, I remember. Do you remember when West Ham went to St Andrews in Scotland last season for pre-season. I went up there, saw them, watched a little bit of what they were doing. I was really impressed with the full setup. But the thing I was really impressed with was the fact that when David Moyes was speaking out, everything he said in that section of his interview when he was up there, he's literally, like, if you were to look back at that interview, you'd go tick, 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 done that, done that, done that, done that, done that. And I'm excited about them coming because I've booked a hotel and we're staying over. So, and don't worry, Stell, I've already told the missus exactly what's happening. She's in bed, but I'm going to book her like what do you call it? A massage or whatever you call it, spa stuff. And I'm going to take the kids to training with me. I'm going to go and watch West Ham train with my 5-year-old and she'll still be 2 at that point, but they'll love it. Like, it'll be cool, and I'll get them pictures with the players and stuff. But the thing I'm trying to get the point across is watching those players train in the full setup. You'll start to see where this club is going, and the whole COVID thing at West Ham has kind of brought a togetherness with our squad and our players. And see, none of this malarkey of travelling abroad and going to Dubai for a summer training thing. What they're doing is they're coming hardcore. They're staying in Britain. They're coming to St Andrews. I mean, I don't know if you've seen the weather report, but we're predicting a very good next 4 weeks of weather. So that's
what happened last year as well. We're going to get the same down here. Finally, summer's decided to turn up.
Yeah,
and
I think that'll be good for the players, but also yourself, still they'll wake up in the morning. It'll be raining one morning, but it's good for the players just to get that camaraderie around each other and a nice bit of scenery, and it's good. And I'm going to be there, and I'm going to be filming for you guys, So if you're going to be watching, I'm going to be doing some stuff.
Are you actually going to go and talk to some of the players this time round?
Well, listen, let's be brutally honest though. Still, I don't know how this is going to work when I do this, because if I was to ask, can I interview you for our channel?
Oh no, you can't ask. You're just going to have to go and do it.
I think I'm going to have to be a little bit blatant.
All you got to do is wait at a bus stop, and Sufal will be there, and you can interview him.
I think what I'm going to do, Stell, I think what I am going to do is I'm going to do live. I think that's the best option for it. I'll do it live, and then we'll just have to see what the reactions.
You heard it here first, people. Okay, yeah. So let's see what he delivers. All right, let's jump to a couple of other things. Fornals. I think there's going to be quite a few players that are going to smash it next season. What do you think of Fornals?
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited about what he's going to do next year. He's been an absolute revelation. He's bloody Moyes is turned. I said it ages ago, but he's kind of became like your kind of. He just gets stuck in still. He's like Gattuso. Randomly, he's a bit like it's not the exact same player, but he's not scared of a tackle. He's absolutely not scared of a tackle.
I told you, he looks like he's replacing Mark Noble.
Yeah.
Look, that's a good point, Chris. Spuds can't even sign a manager, and we're worried about signing a player.
You look at Everton.
Or Northern Everton. But yeah, let's get back to
and Crystal Palace.
I know.
All 3 clubs are struggling to sign a manager.
Yeah. And then we were all worrying about our manager signing. He signed, so Fornals. I'm looking forward. I think Fornals is just getting better and better. I think we saw a similar thing with Bowen when he signed. He started off okay, but I think he's improved. I think those 2 players get this unnecessary stick. I don't get the stick that they don't understand the stick they get. I think they've given us a really decent season, both of them. But I'm looking forward to Fornals. I'm looking forward to Bowen improving as well. Yep. And they're the sort of players that in another season or 2 could become the 30-35 million pound players.
Do you know what? You can see exactly what Moyes is trying to do with West Ham. You can see that he doesn't have to focus on bringing in 4 big, massive centre forwards. He's interested in like the kind of Pep. I'm not trying to compare, but if you look at Pep Guardiola's teams, it's all small, creative players that move all around inside the middle of the park. And if you think about Lingard, Bowen, Fornals, Lanzini, that's all what they do. And it's like he's trying to emulate the kind of Aldi version of that, if that makes any sense, without being disrespectful to West Ham. and get those players in the middle of the park working together, ticky-tacky football, but work hard to track back and get that. And it's good to see what he's done with Fornals. I can't believe like he's still, even up until maybe 15 games to go, I was even calling for certain games that Fornals should have been rested, not dropped, rested.
And that's what you're going to get next season. It's really interesting because I like doing the research and all these players that we're linked to. I've been looking at some of the names that we've been linked to. I've been looking at them. There's one that I mentioned him earlier, Maximovic from Napoli. I looked at his stats and I went, "Fuck! He's only made 16 first team appearances for Napoli. How's that?" And then I looked into the breakdown, and he played all the games in Europa League, and he played all the games in the cups, and then when you added it all together, it's like, okay, he's got almost a full season, but because he's been playing in the cup games in Europa League, and I think that's what's going to happen with one or two of our players. They're going to be. I thought Maximovic was like, well, he can't be that good. He's being dropped all the time. But I think that's what's going to happen with some of our players. You're going to see, when the games are coming up again, Europa League games, you're going to see one or two players maybe not playing in the Premier League because they'll be rested for the Europa League, or vice versa. And I think that's what we're going to have to get accustomed to. And Moyes started to show that. Do you remember how, sometime through the season when certain players were not being picked and we were going, what's he doing? What's he up to? He was giving them a rest because it was such a long season, and so soon after the previous season, he was actually taking players out and giving them rests, which we didn't realise. And I think that's going to happen a lot more. But I wonder what fans are going to think. I think fans are going to think, oh my God, he's dropping players. But I think you're right. I think players are going to be cleverly rested throughout the season in order to manage them appropriately for all the competitions that we're in.
And that brings you nicely into the world of Said Benrahma.
He's going to. I think he's, much maligned. If James, you're still watching, I'm still a fan of Benrahma. I think he's going to be great, and I think, do you know what? I'm really excited. Forget about the players that we need to sign. Think about the players we've got: Benrahma, Bowen, Fornals. These players are going to smash it next season in the Premier League and Europa. They're going to really show what they're made of. They've had a season together under Moyes, and it excites me. And the interesting thing, I was looking at, by the way, you can vote for your Hammer of the Year and Goal of the Season and all that sort of stuff now on the West Ham website. And I was looking through the list, and I was playing all the videos. And it was reminding me of and some of the performances. I mean, I still get a smile on my face when I see the goal that Lanzini scored against Spurs, or the goal that Lingard scored against Wolves, or the goal that Fornals scored against Leicester and stuff like that. And it's like, wow, we did this. West Ham United did this, and it was just superb. And these players, and they even showed the Benrahma goal, and these players are going to. Other teams are going to be afraid of West Ham next season.
Well,
there you go.
I've not done it yet, so I'm going to do it while we're talking. Why not?
Yeah, I've done it. I've already done it. I've done mine. So who are you going for?
Put this in just now so people can see it. So get your comments in and let us know your thoughts. Who's your Hammer of the Year for this season?
While you're doing that, I'm going to address a few points to get down to the bottom of the comments. We won't have enough players for all matches next season. I'd rather us concentrate on the league than Europa and other cups. I think we will. I think we will have enough players, and as we've been saying, I think it's how Moyes uses them. To be honest with you,
see my selection there still.
You're such a wanker, mate. Honestly, you really,
Hold on a minute,
Scott, quality over quantity. We have a good team. 3 or 4 additions would be perfect. Great comment, because that's exactly what we've just been saying.
Over that one.
You are a wanker. My brother reckons Chelsea are prepared to pay 150 mil, 350 grand a week to get Kane. God, Jesus. Good luck to them. Shraj, good evening, mate. Or good morning to you. Simo has only played 9 games as centre forward ever. Mostly plays right wing. That's a really good point. Danny, do your four signings include Dawson? Good shout. No, they don't, mate. I don't consider that a new
Just
signing.
let you know, I'm submitting my vote, Declan Rice.
Well, I think that's a cop out. I think that's a total cop out. I almost went for Soufal. I wanted to go for Soufal. I ended up going for Souček purely for the amount of game time that he's. People were saying that he should have got a rest, and he never got a rest. And I went for Souček in the end, but Soufal was close. With the greatest of respect, Declan Rice is a cop out for me, mate. Well, sorry about that, but there you go.
You're a cop out. Get your votes in for goal of the season. For me, straight away, I'm going for it. It has to be the everything around it.
Yeah,
I
went for Manuel. Yeah.
Lanzini. Yeah.
So while I was doing that, James Yarmolenko stay or go? I think he'll go. I think we'll find a way to get rid of him. It's jumped. It always jumps, doesn't it? I hate that. Let's scroll that back up. There's a lot of comments that we missed out, so I'm going to go up as far as I can while you're doing that. What's your next one?
Team performance. That's a tough one.
It's a tough one. I ended up going for Leicester because it was away. I was going to go for Wolves because I think that kick-started our season.
It did kick. I get that. It would be that one. It would be West Ham 4, Wolves 0. However, I think it might be Leeds away because of what Bielsa has done at Leeds.
I think I went for Leicester. Nil. Yeah. Yarmolenko won't go. He'll be injured again by the time he gets back to West Ham. He's just played 3 games and has at least 1 more to go. You're kind of right there, mate.
James, individual performance of the season. I mean, straight away, my first best memory, not best memory, but that comes up with Jesse Lingard for Aston Villa.
I went for Lingard. It was close because I thought Bowen played exceptionally well against Wolves, but I went for Lingard. Yeah. James, do you think a bid will come in for Rice this summer? I think it may well do, but I don't think the board will accept, or more or less been confirmed that he won't go this summer. Happy Hammer, Holland, Coventry, Alese, and Odubeko. Problem is with Holland is what we said about Josh Cullen. He's had enough time, he just hasn't done it. Coventry, I agree. Alese might go out on loan again. I kind of think Odubeko will go out on loan as well. What do you think? Odubeko in the squad or out on loan?
I really don't think we can really afford to send him out on loan. I think if there's a season he's going to get game time, it's going to be this season. League Cup, FA Cup, Europa League, Premier League. We're going to have plenty of games there. If he goes out on loan still, then I don't think Meeple's got it. I don't think Moyes is a fan.
What Odubeko?
Yeah, I genuinely.
He's 17 years old, mate.
It doesn't 18.
Matter.
It doesn't matter.
I think you're totally wrong there.
No.
Patrick, let's just address this. Feel so sad and depressed all day today. Now feel good. Not go to sleep forever. Thank you, Stella and Anton. New subscriber, mate. Thank you for joining us. I hope you're all right. Just take things carefully. Take things lightly. Don't let things get to you. But glad you've joined us, and thanks for subscribing.
Patrick, are you a West Ham fan? If you are a West Ham fan, send us an email. ironsunited1980@gmail.com. I don't know if there's a thing there. There it is there. Send us an email, mate, if you are and you're a new subscriber. And just do what Stell said.
Yeah. Sorry, what was the point you were making just before that, mate?
Odubeko.
I think you're wrong on him. I think he's too young. I think he's I think Odubeko will make it. Man United were desperate to keep him. They were upset that he decided to move on. And I think he will become a cracking player. He's 18. I think what Moyes did with him last season was a bit of a mistake in bringing him on in the Man United game and then hauling him off again. He should have given him more game time in the previous cup game. Can't remember who it was. Was it Doncaster that we played, or whoever it was we played? But I think he will make it, and I think it's quite possible he'll go out on loan. smash it in a lower league, and then come back to West Ham. But it's possible, as you said, because we need strength in depth. He may be kept. Don't know, but I think he'll go out on loan.
Patrick, good man. Like I said, send us an email, mate. Just a quick one still there. West Ham Cockney live in Scotland. Loving the chat, guys. And my name is Lee. Lee, whereabouts in Scotland? Let me know, please, mate. I live in, you'll know the area, Ayrshire. So, yeah, let me know where you are. So
can't believe there's two of you up there, mate.
Mate, there's plenty of West Ham fans up here.
Is there?
There's probably more West Ham fans up here than there is in the West End of bloody London. You big Chelsea doss, is that what they call you?
Crazy. I don't think Connor Coventry would make the grade. He's 21 years now. Should have played more in the first team. I think, I actually thought Crazy that last season would have been the season he would have broken through, and I was kind of surprised that he didn't. I think this will be it. I will agree with you, Crazy. If he doesn't make the grade this season, then I don't think he will, and he'll go like a little bit like Josh Cullen, and he'll leave. Yeah. What else have we got down here? As you see, this is random, people. We haven't got script or anything. It's just like we decided to come on, have a chat, see where we're at, talk shit like we normally do. Happy Hammer, me personally, I prioritise Europe over the league this year. Better chance of getting the Champions League. Well, it's interesting. Patrick, how many times after when Moyes had us on the defence, but without people like Lingard, there is the penalty even going to be given? I didn't quite understand that, mate. Sorry. Can you?
How many times after when Moyes had us on the defence, but without people like Lingard there, is apparently even going to be given? I don't know if he's trying to maybe stress the fact that maybe Lingard was so important to our attacking outlet.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe if that's what you mean, Patrick.
What else have we got here? Happy Hammer, with Moyes, I think the youth will finally be given a fair crack at the whip. I agree with you. I think we will get 4 players in and possibly bring 2 young players in from the under 23s next season to build the squad up. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was just getting. I don't know if I actually was nearly falling asleep there when you were talking still. He does that. He genuinely does that quite a lot. Honestly, he texts me and phones me every day of his life, and I'm just like this.
Mate, you wish. In fact, I have to ignore his text messages, and if I don't reply within half an hour, he thinks I'm upset with him. Hammerwell, if we're going to do well in one, well, normally because you really piss me off at times.
Exactly. I just say hi to Stel in the morning. I say, "Morning, Stel. How are you?" And he's like,
because so petty with some of the things you do. But anyway, Hammerwell, if we're going to do well in one competition,
come on,
then we
tell everyone how petty I am.
Here we go. If we're going to do well in one competition, which one would you favour? Cup run, top 10 finish, or a good European run?
If we're going to do well in one competition, then which one do you feel good cup run, top 10 finish, or a good European run? That's good cup run. European run? Cup run? I don't know. I mean, it's all going to.
I actually want us to. I want to win a cup. I want us to win a domestic cup, yeah. But not at the expense of finishing in the lower half of the league.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be greedy and say we finish.
But the question was, he didn't ask you about winning a cup. He said a good cup run.
A good cup run. Well, a good cup run is winning a cup for me.
So then a good European run is winning the European Cup.
Winning a cup, but not at the detriment of finishing below 8th in the Premier League. How about that?
Yeah.
Anton, are you back down on the stairs? No, clearly not. No. He's kicked his kids out of the playroom. Please forgive us if we're not reading every single comment, because it would be. I mean, we've already done an hour and we've really chatted.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to put a deadline on it for me. I'm going to bed in 7 minutes still.
Are you? Well, yeah. We've got more than 7 minutes.
I know.
But here, so
yeah.
Nice welcome family here. This channel, good people, Anton Stell, good people on the chat as well, mate. Welcome, and yeah. we're really glad. We're really glad you joined us. I'm scrolling down, so please do forgive me if I'm not. Here we go. Pat Mahone. Lanzini got my vote for the goal. Team performance was against Leicester, and Soufal got my hammer of the year. Yeah, no, I think they're great shouts. I think they're all great shouts. What else have we got here?
I read the comments. It's hilarious.
Goodness, well, I can't see the ones further down. So
Anton can forgive all being a monk.
Chris,
it's not the first time I've been told that this jumper makes me look a bloody monk.
Chris, Stell, I went and checked the seating plan after our conversation about band 2. After I checked, I realised I'm not band 2, but oh, mate, band 1? God, you're going to be sitting with the directors. Are you sure you're not in the directors board there, Chris?
Band 1, Chris is.
Danny Lanzini got goal. It's a no-brainer.
I'm surprised. Sorry, Chris. I'm surprised you're not up there with Stell.
Up where,
with his
mate,
prawn sandwiches.
I'm in the Bobby Moore lower, where I should be.
That's because you're desperate to be up there, though. That's why.
Yeah, wanker. Kieran, hello, mate. Souček had a rest when he was sent off. Was he sent off? When was he sent off? Of course, when he was sent off in the 89th minute.
Fulham. Was it Fulham? Yeah.
Yeah. James, Aston Villa away. Grealish got ruined by Soufal. He did. Absolutely did.
Well, listen, can I just jump to this question quickly then? If we've got 5 minutes, because this could be a good one. If you could sign a player at the Euros, who would it be? Who impressed you, lads? Over to you, Stell. If you were Mr. David Moyes and you had an opportunity.
I like Schick, Czech Republic player. I think he's been all right. I like Šaleta. As we now know, it's not Kaleta Kar, it's Šaleta Shah from Croatia, the central defender. Quite liked him. He kept Kane quiet. Yeah, those two. I think there's a couple of others. There's been a few. You wouldn't mind. Someone said it in the show the other day. You wouldn't mind filling the team out with a few Finnish players who all look really good.
There's one particular Finnish player that I think would be bloody brilliant, and I'd love to do a video on him just to see and look at his stats and his history and his style of play. But it looks like he completely fits the mold. But for me, there's a Finnish striker and a Swedish striker, Alexander Isaac. He looks the real deal, man. He really does.
Isaac has got a big release clause, hasn't he?
He does, mate, but these release clauses are few and far between. Not every player actually has to, the clubs put a release clause on the player with the hope that if they do really turn out to be over the top, then someone's going to have to minimum pay 59 million quid. They will accept an offer less than that, dramatic less than that. He is scoring goals for Sociedad. But he is scoring goals for Sociedad. But the La Liga have done a big financial thing on the league, and all the clubs in La Liga are looking at losing €1 billion from the COVID pandemic.
Well, that's why Barcelona and Real Madrid are signing players on a freebies.
Yeah, I think they're going to struggle. A lot of teams are going to struggle. So I wouldn't be surprised if a club puts a cheeky offer in. However, let's be realistic. I don't think West Ham will get Isaac, because I actually think other clubs that will go in there and sneak him in for. I think he could go for 35 though. I reckon he'll go for 35.
Right. D.A. Crossman, did we ever get the results of the fan survey? There has been a result of one fan survey I've seen, but not the club's fan survey, and not Hammers United fan survey either. It was the fan survey done by Clarence and Hugh, I think. But I haven't seen results of other fan surveys. Good shout.
Fans.
Sorry, mate.
It's 1,000 fans.
Yeah. So they're not worth the paper they're written on, mate.
Surveys annoy me. They do annoy me. Surveys in general annoy me.
What annoys you?
Surveys.
Surveys.
Yeah.
Well, they kind of surveys are always designed to give those who are creating them the answers they want.
Yeah.
I learned that in marketing, mate.
When I say they annoy me because they don't get the numbers they should. That's what annoys me about it.
Yeah. Kevin,
Mr. Marketing Manager. Marketing executive, marketing CEO of West Ham United, Stelios.
The club, shut up, mate. The club staff told me not this, but next season, going back to the season ticket card. Well, that's a bit weird, because once those cards are gone, they're gone. We won't be going back to them, and we still don't understand why we're not getting season ticket cards next season. It hasn't really been made clear. Zach, you were funny on the last leg tonight. So on the last leg, is that a TV show? Is it?
Who was on it?
Who was on it? Go on, tell me who was on it, Zach.
David Baddiel.
Who? David Baddiel. Fucking Zach, mate. Fucking hell. I'm gonna ban you, Zach. DJR. I'm one of the many new Hammers fans in Czechia. Read a rumor about Pavlenka, goalie for Werder. Any thoughts? That's interesting. I haven't seen that. Rumor. Have you? There was a rumor on a goalie, but it was a Polish goalie that apparently we're looking at. But so are Spurs. But DJR, no. Thank you for joining us, by the way, and I hope you've subscribed. But I haven't heard that rumor about Pavlenka. Have you seen anything?
No. But
No.
What's the goalkeeper from the Czech Republic? Goalkeeper.
Vaslik.
He's impressed me. There you go. He's impressed me as well. And is he not free in July? Is he not become a free agent?
He's a free agent. Scott, everyone, no matter our status, has to undergo something out of the ordinary. No one is alone. Join the channel, top class people. Thank you, Scott. Much appreciated. I hope that's got nothing to do with this. What was it we sent him? A shirt.
I think he won that fair and square in a competition, to be fair.
He did win it fair and square. He did. We're coming to the bottom. David M. Hello, Stella and Anton. Should do the show every Friday night. And we will be single men after doing another one. Stella and Anton show. I'm from Bobby Moore. Oh, you're above me, David. I'm in Bobby Moore lower, mate. Right at the back. Bobby Moore lower. Keeps me out of the rain.
Trust me, you will know when you see. Actually, you wouldn't see Sel. He's so small. Actually, you will see him because he's standing in the chair because you can't see past the guy in front of him.
Yeah. Just because you're fucking stupidly, fucking ridiculously tall. Mikkel Damsgaard from Denmark looks good. Good shout, Mark. Yeah. Kieran Dumfries looks impressive.
Yeah.
You don't know who he is.
I don't know who he is. Does he not play for Netherlands?
I don't know, mate. You tell me.
Yeah, you don't even know who he is.
You're in the know.
Yeah, no, he does.
Scott, the shirt is framed my wall, but I stay for the Punch and Judy show between you.
Well, do you know what, Scott? He's Judy, and I punch him in the face every time I see him.
Quattro, still impression of Moyes bringing in a big name player is hilarious. I don't think he's ready. Might need to come off the bench. See, I reckon. I think we should put a cheeky bid on for Harry Kane. But I know, as I keep saying, Moyes will go. Just got to wait on the bench, lad. Until we think you're ready for us. I think. Scott, Hungary is a surprisingly good few players. Play a lot of the Czechs. Well, someone did say the other day, why not just go out and buy the Czech Republic squad and just have done with it? We can probably get the whole squad for about 90 million, can't we?
Name me 2 Hungarian professional footballers from past or present still.
Puskás.
Well done. And then come on, more recently, but he's not playing in this tournament.
Oh, I have no idea, mate.
Zoltan Gira.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Used to play for Fulham, and every time he scored a goal, we used to pull a mask out and put the mask on. That was a celebration.
Yeah, well done. DJR, check out Hollis, alternative to Krau. Yeah, I've heard about him. Looks like a JC Van Damme and plays like him too. Hollis, yeah, decent shout. Krau hasn't done much, has he? Really, he's kind of like.
Were we talking about him on this show, or were we talking? I can't remember if I was talking about him on a. Oh no, it wasn't this show. I was on something else earlier on. I'm not judging Krau on this tournament. He's started one game. I think he's came off the bench. He didn't look great, but you made the point still. I can't remember if it was you. Season stopped over a month ago. He has been playing well for Spartak Moscow.
Exactly.
And if Moyes fancies him, then I'm not judging him on the average games in an average. I mean, England's group stage, all the teams in England's group have been average. Everyone's been average. Czech Republic have been average. Croatia have been average.
That's why England are going out against Germany on Tuesday night. But anyway, Yaremchuk is useful and attainable. Did a show on Yaremchuk, Vinay. I thought actually your Yaremchuk's I think he looked good. James,
it's 3 minutes past my deadline.
Right, hang on. We're nearly done. Finally from me, lads. Thoughts on Wales versus Denmark? I think it's going to be tough for Wales. I think I've got a funny feeling Denmark might just nick that. Thoughts on that?
Wales have impressed me massively.
They've impressed me too. They've impressed me too.
Like I said earlier on, I totally forgot that they actually got to the semi-finals of the last Euros, I think it was. But they seem to have got the right mix of players who are playing together, team spirit, who are playing well, and they've got big game winners who seem to be playing well in form. You've got Gareth Bale, who can, if you look at the goal that Ramsey scored, Ramsey made a dynamite run. Bale found that pass. I mean, I was really impressed with Wales. Really impressed with Wales.
Right, that's the end of our show. We thank you very much. It was a bit of a trial. This we didn't really know whether it was going to work or not, but we'll have a look.
Don't worry, we'll change all the intro video because it's a disaster. We'll change the thumbnail because it's minging.
Nothing.
It's disgusting. It makes me feel upset. It looks like I've just came in from the pub still and spewed all over the thumbnail.
Well, this is about people coming in from the pub and then watching something, to keep them entertained. I mean, look at this.
Look at what?
There's nothing wrong with that, and there's nothing wrong with.
Sorry, what was that? I can't read it. I just can't read it.
Thank you all for joining us, everyone. Much appreciated. And if you've enjoyed it, leave comments at the bottom. Tell us what you think. Do you think this is a show that we could maybe run with? A late night, gift of the gab, bit of a chit chat. If you stop changing the bloody colours, mate. If you've enjoyed it, leave comments on the video afterwards and everything. And thank you all for joining us, and have a good Saturday.
Come on, you irons.